Actually, you know what? I'm going to set the microphone. Maybe over here. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Alright, guys. Live unboxing here. Fire in the Lake. Insurgency in Vietnam. Game designed by Mark Herman and Volko Remke. Produced by GMT. This is Volume 4 of the coin series. Let's open the box and see what's inside. Let's open the box. No longer new in shrink. So, yeah, well, alright. I'm going to put my towel down so I don't have a big glare here. Alright, so first of all, I really like the box art. Very, very nice. If you were just to show somebody this picture and say, what do you think this picture is? Most people are going to get it right off the bat. They're going to say, oh, probably I'm thinking like a Vietnam type thing. So, pretty cool. Simplest, but still very, very cool. And of course on the side, has some nice lettering there. The little symbols. So, yeah, good start. I like that a lot. Let's take a look at what's inside the box. Fire in the Lake, Volume 4, second edition, of course. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. This is the second edition, so if you have the first edition, you might have something slightly different. Fire in the Lake. And rule book's about 24 pages. You got several setup. There is a scenario. There's a short scenario, a medium scenario, and a full scenario. So depending on how long, how much time you have, you're going to get your index here, your key terms, your AI bot informations, and how to play them, what they're looking to do. Yeah, all your typical stuff. It is matte finish, which I do like. Alright, and of course you have your playbook. These are usually really good in the series, the coin series. It's going to weigh in at 52 pages. So we're going to go through non-player decisions and VC, MVA, ARVN, ARVN, the US, kind of their thought process. And then of course, usually, good information about each of the cards, what it's trying to simulate, which player factions like this card, who wants to play the event, and then of course an example of play, step by step, and then a guide for coin series players, guide for each of the different factions to kind of talk about how you should be playing them, what you should try to do. And yeah, looks really good. Typical Fire in the Lake tutorial. First timers should start here, read through this, go through the step-by-step process. Then of course you're going to get your game charts. Hey, how you doing there, Jay? I'm back. Although again, too late for us folks across the pond. Still enjoying your videos though. Well, I appreciate that, my friend. Sent a message on TACUP, but I guess you didn't go through. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Are you part of our group? Hopefully you are. Let's see here. I can, let's see if I can link that in the text here so you can click right on it. See if maybe that helps you out, buddy. Alright, so of course you have your different faction cards and their operations and special activities and how they do things. Should be about 4 copies of that since it's a 4-player game. Then you have your non-player. There's 2 copies of that for each of the different factions. You can play all 4 of the factions AI, or you can choose a side and play the other ones as AI. Whatever you wish. Here is the second edition remove, place, and move. How the units would move around the board. Non-player coup round procedure. And then special instructions for each of the different cards. A sequence of play. Your coup card. Step-by-step instructions. Your setup instructions there. Looks like a couple copies of that. I'm part of the group, but I guess I was not accepted as a friend. You shouldn't have to be accepted as a friend. Just say you want to join the group. Once you say you want to join the group, was a private message. Oh, your private message probably went to my regular Facebook account, which I never ever use. I only have that, so I'm part of the group. So I don't actually check that. So sorry about that. So again, we got counters, a big thick counters, already pre-rounded, and then a couple you're gonna have to cut out and actually, not too many. Takes about 20 minutes or so to go through these and just round the corners if you want to do that. They do have an expansion for this coming, so that's cool. And of course they do have the updated AI bot with the cards and charts. So even though they have this regular AI system, they're going to do what they did with Gandhi and with All Bridges Burning, and come up with cards. You actually shuffle the cards, flip up a card and read through it, and it has like a little flowchart on the card for you. So that's cool. Of course, we have cards here. Lots of different cards.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Hey, thanks, Alexa. Some dice here, blue, red, and yellow. Then a bunch of piece parts that you're going to be using on the board. You got cubes. You got gorillas. You have pawns. You have different markers for the different factions. Yellow, red, blue, and like a dark green olive color. So that's going to be the U.S. Government's going to be blue. Oops, I just punched that up. Let's see here. This is the government. And the Arvin is going to be yellow, and that's going to make the NVA red. So obviously, U.S. and the government's going to work together. Arvin, or the NVA, is going to work against them, and the Arvin is going to kind of do their own thing, I guess. That's kind of what they do in most of the coin games. Bag of baggies, cards, lots of counters, a few dice, and of course, my unboxing makes me think of acquiring this title, but I will wait for your gameplay and let the future Jay decide on that. Well, here's what I will suggest. Here's what I could suggest. If you're going to get a coin game, right, and you're interested in Vietnam and that era at all, then I would highly recommend you get this, because number one, they got an expansion coming for this, which means it's going to make it that much better. And number two, they got an AI bot coming, so it gives you lots of options to play by yourself, running all the factions yourself, or playing a game with all of the factions, just playing the AI, or playing a faction and running the AI for your opponents. There's lots of different options that way. So, and because of that, I would say there's no reason to not get this. And it's highly rated, and they're not going to be reprinting this, I don't think, for any time soon. But this is our board. It is a, what is this called? Not landscape. It's going to be the horizontal map, which is not great for live streaming, but I'm going to move my microphone over here. This is the second edition I got. Yeah, this is the second edition. So they're going to have a expansion for the second edition. And if you play it, if you put it sideways on your table and you play solo, you'll be able to reach everything just fine. If you keep it up and down, portrait mode, up and down, you'll be reaching across the table to try and get all that stuff. So, map looks really good. Map looks really good. Of course, you got all your different charts and boxes and casualties and the Ho Chi Minh Trail, North Vietnam, available forces, all your different locations. So, looks really good. And then, yeah. So I think because of the fact that expansion's coming, should be here pretty soon. They're probably not going to be reprinting this for a while. Because I think they just reprinted the second edition not too long ago. So if you're going to get this one, get it before it goes out of... I think what happens is, just a warning for you guys out there. When they come out with the expansion, a lot of people are going to see the expansion and go, I was going to get the base game, but I forgot. I better get that because I'm going to get the expansion. So these last few games get scarfed up pretty quickly, right? Because it's like, I ordered the expansion, but I forgot to get the base game, or they're waiting to get the expansion, and then the expansion arrives, and then it's like, I need to get the base game too. So these last few, like I said, the last few games that are out there in print at the different resellers, they go pretty quickly once those expansions start flying out. Because it's like, if I buy the base game, then I got this expansion as well. I might as well just get them. I might as well just pick them up at the same time. I got Liberty or Death for the theme. Ordered yesterday, distant plane, thanks to you. And bow to the king about Fire in the Lake, just because I'm interested in the topic. The other coin games are not really my cup of tea, but this system is great for a bigger role in some conflicts. Yeah, if you're interested in Vietnam at all, I think this one is going to really float your boat really well. I've watched some videos on this. I've been looking at some of the other ones, and I decided, I got... What do I have? I have Pendragon, and I got, what do I have? Alien Abyss, and I've got, what's the other one I got? The one I'm playing, the Distant Plane. So I was like, of the other ones, which one am I going to get? And so I decided on this one because it's really highly rated, probably one of the more popular games of the series, and I think it would be much more popular, but this one is a lot more confused, or there's a lot more meat to this system in this game. So because it's a little bit more complex than the other ones, I think a lot of people like this one, but they're like, it's a little bit too complicated for me, and it's just, it just takes too long to play because of the complexity. So if you like complex games, you like this error, you like coin, then this should be a no-brainer for you to get. I think, this one is one of the highest rated ones, and like I said, it would be high. It would even be rated higher, except for some of those people just think it's too complex, so they don't rate it as high. But I think I know the Player's Aid loves this. A lot of good reviews about this system in the game, and it really, I think, takes the first couple games. So you had Alien Abyss, which is good, really good. And then you had the second game, which was Cuba Libre. And then you had the third game, which was a distant plane. And then this is the fourth one. And I think after the first 3 games, they really were going along in a process. But then they decided, let's amp it up a little bit. Let's take it to the next level. And I think with Mark Herman, they really took this one to the next level. To the next level of complexity and strategy and player involvement and everything. So we'll see. I don't know because I haven't actually played it, but they rank this as the best of the series. Yeah, I think, theme-wise, probably the strongest theme, because when you're talking about 4 different factions conflicting with one another, most people aren't thinking about Finland in 1917 and 1918. It's just not, most people think of that. Most people think 4 different factions conflict, but probably the first thing that's going to come to their mind is Vietnam, right? With the NVA, the ARVN, the ARVN, and the US, and then of course the government. So it's almost like the coin system was made for this. When you look at some of the other ones, like Alien Abyss and A Distant Plane, there is 4 factions in each of those, and most people would say, okay, well, it's going to be the coalition and the Taliban and the government. Well, who's the 4th faction? And the same thing with Alien Abyss is that, you've got your Colombian government, right? You got your basically your coalition force, and then you have your Insurgency down there. Well, who's the 4th faction? This one makes sense the most for a 4th faction. It seems like the warlords and the cartel and these other games are kind of thrown in because we need a 4th faction. I'm not saying that they're not fleshed out as much or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. It just seems like these other factions just seem like they're there and they're not as involved as the other factions are. So if you're a player and you're playing as a warlord, it's like you have these other guys always doing something, and then you're like, oh, I put a base out, I put a guerrilla, and I'm done. It's just not a lot to do, right? So that's just my first general impressions. But anyways, love the map, love the box art, love the coin system. Not a big fan of the AI charts. That's why I've got the pre-order for their new AI system, which should be out in the next month or so. That should be coming here, like I said, another month, with the cards and the charts, which make things a little bit easier. Because a lot of when you're running the AI, it's like, well, I'm going to add pieces to the board. Well, what's that faction's priority on? Okay, well, the first priority would be high-value spaces. And then it would be, high-value spaces where there's no enemies. And there's a hierarchy chart that tells you, so you can quickly scan through the map instead of going through that rule book and trying to figure it out. Or going through this flow chart. Because the flow chart, for me, it doesn't seem like it gives you enough details on, if I'm playing the US and they're going to assault, it just says assault to move to active VC/NVA. Well, if there's VC and NVA all over the place and I'm going to assault them, it doesn't really. You got to go through the rule book to figure out what location they're going to do all this stuff in, which is extra work and it slows down the game. So I think the new system with the cards and the chart, and it basically, on the chart, it'll say, adding pieces, here's your priority. Removing pieces, here's your priority. Adding bases, here's your priority. Whatever your other, assaulting, bombing locations, what's your priority on bombing locations? There's a little chart, and it shows you what you do. Go watch some videos on Gandhi and All Bridges Burning, and you'll see. Tony's Board Life. Hey, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. We're just doing a little Fire in the Lake unboxing here. I'm just talking just general terms and stuff. This is going to be one of these wide boards, but like I was saying, if you're going to play it solo, it's going to be much more manageable to play it this way, because everything is very easy to reach. If you're playing it up and down, it's going to be really hard to reach all this stuff up here. Map looks good. The different pictures have this like sepia filter over them to make them look like they're old photos, which is really good. Of course, you have your other standard components with all the pieces and parts and everything. Of course, you got your cards. From what I've seen so far, some of the cards are really impactful in this game. It seems like in some of the other games, like some of the cards, you look at them and go, do I really want to play that event? It doesn't seem that great, Not all cards can be great, obviously, but, it's this, look, Gulf of Tonkin. So, Incident and Resolution is the name of it. U.S. free airstrike. Then it moves 6 pieces from out of play to any city. Well, that... I can tell you already from playing my other coin games, that's huge, right? So you get a free airstrike and you get to move 6 pieces from out of play to any city. So it's basically like combining 2 moves together for you. And then if you're playing as one of the other factions, you would aid -1 per casualty. All casualties out of play. That's interesting. That could be really good. Obviously, in the beginning of a round, it would suck because there's not going to be anybody out of play and there's not going to be any casualties. But if this card comes up right before their scoring card, there's probably going to be a lot of units in there. And so if you can just pop all those units out of play as the enemy, that would be really good. Because normally what happens is, like, if they have 2 casualties, they take 1 and knock it out of play, and then they get one back as a reinforcement. This card basically just knocks them all out of play, which seems really, really good. You can't get event happy. Yeah, I know, but I am. I like playing the events. Let's see what this one, Ambassador Taylor. And most of these, some of these are in colored photos, so they're not, 1964. Aid and Arvin resources, each +9. Up to 2 U.S. pieces from out of play to South Vietnam, or if desired, patronage -3. So the U.S. can take 2 of its pieces from out of play, which is going to be this box, and they can put them in South Vietnam, which would be, well, there's different colors, but these are probably the terrain. And if we play this as the other factions, remove support from 3 spaces outside Saigon and patronage -3. That's pretty good. I could probably, there's probably only a few new rules to pick up, which is another good thing, right? There's only probably a couple rules that you have to pick up. The difference between this and like Aiding Abyss is probably pretty similar-ish. I will say that there seems like, as we talked about, the more these series go on, right? It seems like there's more and more information, right? And they've done more and more things. Like the non-player faction, that literally is like a lot bigger in this book. I don't know if that means it's just more complex, but it's literally goes from page 13 to page 24. So it's basically like 11 pages. So maybe it's more fleshed out here than some of the first and the second or the third. Let's see if there's anything really like new. So you got the map, the forces, pretty simple. Same thing as before. The U.S. and the ARVN are counterinsurgents factions. The NVA and VC are insurgents. So you have the U.S. and the ARVN, which is, I think, like the local government forces. And then the NVA and the VC are insurgents who have their own victory conditions. So that's very similar to the other ones. Support and opposition, very similar. You're going to try and move that up and down to get control of areas. Resources, aid, and patronage, that's exactly like a distant plane. Victory markers, I mean, the markers don't even look the same, except for this one's yellow. So, I mean, maybe they're train, right? Well, we know what train does. Patrol. Train is going to bring units out. Patrol is going to move units. Assault is going to attack units. They might do things slightly different, but I doubt it. Rally, bringing units in. Marching, moving units. The trail, which is probably like its new little thing there. Look at the winning conditions for the U.S. Out of play really hurts them. All right, let's look at the victory conditions, shall we? So the victory conditions are for the U.S. total support plus available U.S. troops and bases exceeds 50. Yeah, it's very similar to coalition. So it's, you know, the more units they have not on the board, plus the more areas they have under their support. MVA controlled population plus MVA bases exceeds 18. So yeah, the MVA seems like the Taliban. The Taliban would get their opposition. No, the VC is going to be like the Taliban. So total opposition plus bases, yeah. So it's the exact same thing. It's just a different number. Total opposition plus VC bases. So for the Taliban, it was total opposition plus bases. So that's the same. NVA controlled population plus MVA bases exceed 18. So that's just like the warlords. And the ARVN, coin controlled population plus patronage. That's exactly like the government one in a distant land or a distant plane. So these are very, very similar. Very similar. North Vietnam, place 1 MVA grill or place 2 with an MVA base. Okay, pretty standard. If an MVA base, you may instead place 2 MVA guerrillas up to the trail value. Okay, so this is going to limit how many times the insurgents can make bases. And then you can pay 2 resources to improve the trail box. So improve it, and then somebody's going to try and knock it down. Somebody's going to try to improve it. Attack, terror. In each space, activate 1 underground guerrilla. If a province or city, place terror if none, and shift to 1 support by 1 level towards neutral. If it's on a line of communication, place. I mean, this. I can almost get out the other. It's going to be the same thing with different color and a different name. So here's your line of communications. Here, here, here. There's one here. There's a U.S. policy box, so I'm sure there's some adjustment on that. Looks very, very similar. Look at the winning conditions for the U.S. Out of play really hurts them. Yeah. Yeah, I think, if you play any of the other coin games, you can probably pick this one up pretty easy. Doesn't seem too different. I'm sure there's going to be some differences, obviously, in what the units can do. So it's just trying to figure out what the differences is. It even has the same kind of matrix, right? Where you have the U.S. and the ARVN working together, but they're still separate, but they want to help one another. And then you have your VC, and they're kind of like your anti. They want to have their own support or opposition. They want to have their own opposition, not support. And then you have that other weird faction that's thrown in that does its own little thing, where it just tries to make everything neutral. And that's the VC. That's the what is that one? That one's the Kong, I bet. MVA. Yeah, it's going to be the VC. Republic of Vietnam. Coin control population plus patronage. Yeah, so these are the guys that are going to work with the United States. Ugh, really? Wow. Then they mess this all up. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see, hang on. Yeah, that's what I thought. There is some orange cubes, and then there's some red cubes. I couldn't tell if there was orange and, so that's interesting. So, what are the orange cubes? What are the red cubes? Because there's a yellow faction, right? You have a brown faction. Alright, you got a blue faction. Oh, come back here. Which one are we missing? We're missing the red/orange faction. So the red, orange, oh, here it is. So red. So there's a red faction. And then you have red cubes. And then you have orange cubes. Interesting. And there's yellow, right? So the yellow goes with the yellow. This green is going to go with the green. And the blue is going to go with the blue. And so all four factions have gorillas or something that represents a gorilla. In fact, the blue only have gorillas and bases. So blue only has them and they have bases. The brown has got both cubes, mostly cubes, but they do have some gorillas as well. The yellow has squares and gorillas. And then the red they have red gorillas and red cubes. And then as far as orange go, it looks like orange are only cubes. I don't see any of them that are not cubes. Oh, so they're like okay, that makes sense. They're like the police. So, who do they go with, though? Do they go with yellow? They would go with... No, they would go with the... Yeah, they would go with the I believe they go with the yellow. Because red's going to be the VC. Blue's going to be Viet Cong. Green's going to be the US. And the yellow is going to be the Arvid. And the Arvid's like the government. Because they're trying to get patronage. So the orange must go with the yellow. Which really is a bad color. Because then they go with the red. Red and orange. Ugh. Oh boy. Bob. Hey Bob. How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, you're right. But that's a bad combo. They should have made these... Oh! Come here. They should have made these white. Or black. Or... pink. Some other color, but orange and red are just way too similar. Especially if it's not well lit. If you're in a dark room. You know, if you're recording, how many, you know, are you going to be able to tell me what's red and what's orange? You know, if I picked up, say, oh, I'm going to add 6 red cubes to the board, right? And I add 6 red cubes to the board. Are you going to know that there's an orange one there without really looking? I mean, it doesn't stand out as easy. I guess you could take your own cubes, right? You could take cubes from other games. What's in my other game? Where's my other game? In play, it's not a big deal. Okay, well, sure, if you say so. Yeah, I don't have anything that could help out of this one. Yeah. All right, it's no, if you say it's no big deal, I will assume it's no big deal. Assume it will be no big deal. That's fine. That's fine. I just think, yeah, they could have made a little bit better choice there. You know, it's not that big a deal, like you say, but, you know, it would have been nice to have a better choice. I'm surprised they didn't go with blue and light blue again, but what do I know? What do I know? All right, well, that is Fire in the Lake. We're going to try to get this one on the table sometime soonish. We're kind of going through. We still got A Distant Plane, which we're probably going to be doing another episode of that later tonight here. I wanted to kind of get some of these new games we got unboxed so we can clip the counters and everything. A lot of pieces, so that's good. That's good. Cards, lots of cards. Cards look good. Picture looks good. Probably my favorite box art so far of all of them. Probably this one. So far, rules look pretty good. Like I said, that does look to me, just by looking at the rule book, it does look like there is more AI information in the book. Alright, so if you're playing a non-player Arvid, you got all this, you got all this page, you got all this page, and most of this page, just a little section out. So you got basically one page, about 2.5 pages of stuff, which seems like there's a lot more. So maybe they spell things out a little bit better. But like I said, I'm looking forward to the AI bots that's coming. So, yeah. There are 3 scenarios. There is a short, a medium, and a long. 3 scenarios. Short, medium, and a long. Or a full. I guess they call it a full, but... Deck preparation. Yeah, they basically haven't figured out that that's a problem. The way they designed the shuffle. The way they designed the shuffle in the first 4 games is wrong. Because you can end up with problems where, like, you go through all this setup process and you shuffle in it and you do all that and it takes 5 minutes for you to get every card and figure out what you're doing. And then the first card you flip up is a scoring card. It's like, really? Now I have to do this all over again. Or you have 2 packs and they have scoring cards back to back, which can happen. Not very often, but it can happen. So, obviously they went through and figured out that that could be a problem. So now well, each game kind of has you shuffle the deck a little bit differently, but I love the smell of cardboard in the morning. It's a good one. That is a good one. Yeah, we have to like make an intro for this game or something when we're going to play it or something. We need to have something to inspire everyone. Anyways, we're gonna try and finish up A Distant Plane. Probably going to take a couple more days because that, it's not a very quick game. And then Monday we're supposed to get our update for the 80 Abyss, the 2nd edition upgrade kit. So hopefully we'll get that back on the table for you guys. And then I don't know if Tony's watched, but the challenge is on, my friend. The challenge is on. The challenge is on. That's because Tony has challenged me, but I couldn't accept the challenge at the time because I didn't have the games. And he wouldn't let me use like the Vassal module or anything. I had to actually have a copy of the game. So I had to go out and purposely buy it just so we can get this challenge going. Do I have the Fall of Saigon expansion order? Yes, I do. I have the Fall of Saigon and I have the Chishong or Tabong AI pack for both. So I decided to get this game and I figured, well, I'll just go and order the other ones and get them ready to, so when they're ready to come, they're ready to come, and I won't have to wait on them. So yeah, that's pretty much unboxing. This is what you get. We'll get these sleeved. We'll get these few counters punched out. That's one of the best things about this game is where are those counters? Like literally, there's only like 20 minutes of counter clipping in this. You get all those. I don't know why they don't just have them all like that. So some of these just punch right out, which is super nice. Come on. This is the same format they have for all of them, are basically the same format, because I noticed when Tony did his live unboxing of All Bridges Burning, like literally it's the same format, but like half of them are just white because they didn't need them, but they kept the same format, which is weird that they would do that, but and I won't have to even clip them, bro. Well, these you do. Again, why? Yeah, I mean, you know, it's only one counter sheet, so that's not the end of the world, but still. I mean, look, I mean, if I can punch these out, why can't I punch the other ones out? Would have been so much nicer. And I'm going to have to cut these out because I don't think they'll... maybe not. Maybe I can actually just push these out. Okay. Alright, so I can push them out. But, gotta stupid clip them. Like I said, it doesn't take very long, so that's good. Come on, you. That's good. I wanted to get through this because tomorrow's trash day, so I can get all this stuff in the trash. All these extra pieces and parts. Oh yeah, I just love clipping. Jay, don't you have to go to bed? Jay, don't you have to go to bed? I thought you were going to bed. I thought you were leaving. What happened with that? Why are you still here? Go to bed. Alright, so that's that. A few minutes of clipping. Ugh. I don't understand why they're so little anyways. Because you got all these... I don't know. That's just I'm not going to nitpick. So, anyways, I've got a couple more live unboxings I need to get done. The hunters, the hunted, because those need to be clipped and everything. So we can get this challenge on the way. I'm sure Tony and Ruff will come up with some excuse. They probably can't find their games in their something. Anywho, I think that's it. Pretty good. Like I said, if you're interested in this game, if you're interested in this series, there's not a ton of copies out there of second edition. There's still some available. But I have a feeling when the expansion comes out, or getting ready to come out, a lot of people are going to get their email. Oh shit, they're emailing or they're sending me my upgrade kit, but I didn't get the original game. I was planning on doing that, but I forgot. So I think there's like a big buying time. Or a lot of people will see, oh, there's an expansion coming out. I say, yeah, I'll buy both of them. So I'll buy the expansion and I'll buy the game. So there might not be a ton of these games left out there. And I don't think they're going to reprint this for a while. So if you're interested, I would just say, keep your eye on sales. You know, and see if one comes on sale or something, you might want to pick it up. So, you know, before it goes out, because last thing you want to do is order the expansion and not have the original game and not be able to get it. And then once all the copies are gone, then the price goes way up because people are trying to gouge you. All right, guys. Well, have a good evening. We will be clipping counters. We're going to try and get our a distant plane back out on the table here. Obviously, I had to move it to get this on the table. So assuming that I don't trip over and spill everything and I can get it back on the table, which, trust me, is not easy, because trying to lift these boards up are not the easiest thing in the world, because they are quad fold, right? So like you literally have to like hold it as best you can, but then you can see this middle section kind of sinks down a little bit, and then you got to carry it over to your table or wherever. For me, I'm sitting it on my couch behind me, so assuming I can get it back over to the table without destroying it. All right, I gotta go. So Jay's leaving, I gotta leave. So y'all have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.